Hey, what's going on, you guys? Nicholas Moy here, and in this video, we are going to be diving into the ISC2 or ISC Square Cyber Jobs Report that was put out at the end of last year, December 4th, 2025. The reason why I am doing this is because I myself am curious on the job security and job market for cybersecurity and IT in general. And I'm bringing you along for the ride because I know a lot of you guys have been wondering about this. Some of you have probably been dealing with some difficulties in finding a job. And I'm here to unpack and figure out what is actually going on. What is the reality of the situation? So let's actually dive into that. I'm going to switch my screen over and we're going to read through this report together. I'll see you guys in the next scene. Okay, so here we are. This is the 2025 ISC2 Cybersecurity Workforce Study, and they do this every year. ISC2, CompTIA, a lot of these companies that produce these very well-known certifications in the tech market, they produce these types of study reports. And let's just talk about why that is just for a second, right? This is done so that people understand why they should invest in their education in cybersecurity and which certifications, degrees, whatever the credentials, whatever the skill sets are, the people should be following along with. Now, historically, we have seen some pretty consistent patterns. That is the Security Plus and the CISSP as far as the certifications that should be obtained. And then things like systems engineering, cloud security engineering, and application security engineering and GRC as being the top skill sets year over year over year. And if you look at all the different reports that have been posted over the past 10 years, which you can see that on ISC2's website, you will see a consistent pattern for the most part, okay? And if you find that I'm off, please let me know down in the comments. I am happy to be corrected and, I'll make another video. If you find something out that I don't know, please let me know. But as a professional that's been in the industry for almost 20 years now, I have been following a lot of these patterns, especially as I got more and more serious in my career. Okay. And that's, ISC Square's research reports, their workforce studies have been a key element to my decision-making practices and my patterns as far as what I decide to do, why I do it, which skill sets I'm pursuing, which certifications I'm pursuing, etc. Right? And so I would highly recommend that you look at these and allow this to kind of feed some information into your decision-making pattern as well. That way you're not just running off of emotions. That's where I'm kind of going with that. So let's go ahead and read through this real quick. Cybersecurity workforce continues to navigate a range of disruptive economic, technological skills and resource challenges. Last year's study revealed cybersecurity teams are now equally exposed to layoffs and hard-hitting budget cuts that have affected other teams when economic challenges emerge. However, the 2025 ISC2 Cybersecurity Workforce Study suggests that while cybersecurity budget cuts, layoffs, and hiring freezes and other economic impacts remain, these pressures have leveled off and are not reported at higher rates this year. While signs of stabilization are at an early stage, this could be an indicator of a reset as organizations take stock of their ability to deal with new technologies and economic realities. So I like what they're saying here because I, for one, saw this for probably early to mid 2025, where I was seeing a lot of ups and downs and patterns. And the reason why we were seeing that was because there was a lot of excitement about AI. Companies were looking at their existing workforce and saying, we can lay off these people and replace them with AI agents, and this is going to help us save money and we'll be better off. But what we saw in exchange for that, when companies were actually swapping out human beings with AI agents, is that the AI agents were not proficient enough to do the job. And so we saw a lot of disruptions and patterns. If you look at the disruption with Cloudflare, if you look at what happened with AWS and that huge downfall that took place last year, Verizon recently had an issue with this as well. When big tech does this, trying to save cost, they actually hurt themselves in the long run, and then they find themselves backpedaling. And so when ISC Square or ISC2, I'm always going to call it ISC Square, I think, when they say that, signs of stabilization are at an early stage, but this could be an indicator of a reset. That's kind of my perception of it too, and the reason why, right? Yes, did companies do a lot of excessive hiring during the pandemic? Absolutely. I think we can all agree with that. But over the next couple of years, with AI coming in, and then us realizing that, or the companies realizing that AI can't do the job of us human beings, then they said, okay, never mind. We'll leverage AI a little bit, but we're going to try to find people that really know AI and security so that we're really covering all of our bases. So they're going to lay off tons of people, but then they're going to refill a lot of those seats because they can't just operate off of AI alone. Okay. But there's a lot more to this. So let's kind of dig in here. So they've got some key findings. I'll read the headlines. Economic uncertainty continues to weigh heavily on cybersecurity teams. Okay, skills and staff shortages are raising cybersecurity risk levels and challenging business resilience, right? So let's read that again. Skills and staff shortages are raising cybersecurity risk levels and challenging business resilience. This is a good thing for us, right? Companies realize they can't just lay us off, they need us. AI has shaken up the cybersecurity workforce, but positivity remains high as professionals foresee career opportunities. Guys, this is what we're talking about, okay? Yes, AI has done some damage, but as long as we understand how AI works, we understand how to protect it, we understand the infrastructure, the applications, what have you, we can actually take advantage of this and still be able to lock in jobs. And that's actually why we're seeing a lot of rehiring happening. Okay. I was at a firm a couple of years ago. I'm not going to say what year, and I'm not going to say the name of the firm because you could easily figure this out yourself. Let me take a sip here. They had a massive layoff as well, right? And a lot of security engineers. And I was actually impacted from this as well, right? Now, one thing that I know is that that same firm that laid me off is actually going through an aggressive hiring spree right now, right? For the same exact team, probably for a lot of the same clients. Maybe they have new environments that they're trying to protect or internal clients, whatever, right? I don't know the details, but they are hiring, even though just a year and a half ago, they had laid off a ton of their people, right? Me included. So you have to know what is going on. You have to see the patterns and you have to be able to rock with it. You have to be able to work with different patterns and take advantage of what is coming. What is coming right now is an aggressive hiring spree, and we need to be on it. We have to be upskilling. We have to be learning what are the current trends. We have to be networking with the right people and diving in where we can to take advantage of this. And folks, this is it. This is it. We're on the rise. I'm going ahead and putting my prediction in. Job satisfaction is positive in the face of extensive disruption, but warning signs exist for team leaders and employers. Okay, I can attest to this because I am a team leader, right? I was a deputy CISO of a big mortgage company, and I have also led as a senior manager, which is like director equivalent, in a lot of different companies. This was for a very big company. So I can say that from firsthand experience, there's a lot of concerns for leaders, but at the same time, we have a huge demand spike that's coming for cybersecurity. And I actually want to go down on this report a little bit and kind of show you some details here because this is very interesting. I think it's more so not that jobs are being cut, but jobs are shifting into different areas, different industries. And so we have to be aware of that. Okay. So economic factors weigh heavily on cybersecurity resources. Let's read through this for a bit. We acknowledge cybersecurity teams were experiencing a degree of protection from economic headcount pressures impacting their colleagues outside cybersecurity roles across wider organizations. However, across 2023 and 2024, it became clear that these pressures had begun to reach cybersecurity teams, and the respondents reported year-on-year decreases in hiring and increased layoffs and pay freezes. Okay, this is a thing. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that it always depends on the specialization, and every year is going to be different with new technology. Technology is constantly coming out, and so we have to be able to adapt with that. We saw a big push for AI in late 2024 and then all through 2025. But in 2026, I think we're going to see a different type of approach for AI. And it's not going to be a mass replacement of human beings. I don't think we're there yet. Okay. While respondents continue to highlight issues with budget constraints, staffing levels, and investments in people and supporting resources, 2025 has seen the first signs that the situation is starting to level out rather than get considerably worse. Respondent organizations experiencing budget cuts across, for example, rose by 7% to 30% in 2023, 37% in 2024, and in 2025, the figure fell only by 1 to 36%. Hiring freezes also remain broadly flat, increasing by 1% from 2024 to 39%. Meanwhile, promotion freezes slowed. So here we're talking about hiring. We're talking about how hiring's got frozen. We're talking about budgetary cuts for the departments, and we're talking about promotions. Okay, so think about you being in the position that you're in if you currently work in IT, or you're looking at going into a new company, and maybe you're sending out applications and you aren't getting callbacks. Maybe you got through the interview process, but you're not getting a offer, or maybe nobody's getting an offer. Like you hear from the recruiter, oh, the department decided not to hire for that role anymore. This is why this is happening. Okay, so budgetary cuts, we're seeing an increase of that. Promotional freezes, hiring freezes, the whole 9 yards. Everyone's kind of getting docked a little bit because companies have to cut back on their spending just slightly. But we're starting to see this pivot because the demand for cyber is increasing. Okay, so here we can kind of see some of the details. Layoffs year over year. So if I zoom in here, dark green is 2023, right? So we saw a lot of layoffs in 2024, and then 2025, we still see we were seeing that it's kind of going down a little bit. It's starting to roll back down. I'd be very interested to see what the latest report is on 2026, but of course it's only February, so I think we're kind of early on. It's probably too early to tell, but from what I'm noticing inside the job boards, I'm seeing the numbers come up. Like whenever I go and search for how many jobs are available for a specific skill set, like Azure, cloud security, AppSec, whatever, I always try to see what is the numbers, like how many jobs are available to actually apply to. And I'm starting to see those begin to uptick. They're starting to grow, which is a good sign. Okay. So in all cases, small organizations fared better than larger ones. Folks, this is what I was talking about. This right here is what I was talking about. Okay. Smaller companies might be the move for you if you're trying to land a position inside of cybersecurity. And what's funny is that that's actually how I got started. I didn't start with a big company. Okay. A lot of people, they get all proud because maybe they started with Google as their first company. Guys, there's not a lot of stability with those big tech companies right now, right? I mean, yes, they are hiring. Yes, they have huge budgets, and you can get some pretty good experience and kind of launch your career off. But the sleepers that are actually winners are the smaller companies, right? So notice here in blue, we have small company. This is between 1 to 99 employees. Medium company is 100 to 499 employees. And then large is anywhere from 500 to 10,000 employees. And then enterprise is 10,000 and above. A lot of you guys that are watching me probably think about enterprise companies as your first job or the next job that you're trying to move to. But I think personally that may be a harmful move for you. You may actually have better luck going for something a little bit of a smaller company, right? Like a medium size, which is 100 to 500 employees, or a large company, which is 500 to 10,000 employees, right? And there's tons of them. I mean, the backbone of America was built off of these types of companies. And those companies, ironically, have less layoffs. You can see here, 18 to 23% in the last 12 months versus 32% in enterprise, okay? Budget cuts, they have fewer budget cuts, they have fewer hiring freezes, and they have fewer freezes on promotions. Okay. Let's go ahead and dig into the industries. So technology-driven sectors are feeling the most economic pain, with layoffs being reported across cloud services, hardware and software development, aerospace, automotive, and non-security hardware and software development, 28%. In contrast, those with lowest exposure to layoffs were more diverse, with education reporting 11%, legal at 12%, nonprofit sector at 13%, followed by construction 18%. Okay, so these on the left in the yellow were the industries that were most affected by cybersecurity layoffs. Okay, so we've got hosted cloud, security and software, aerospace, automotive, and non-security software and hardware development. Let's think about that for a second. Who had a massive layoff last year in the cloud space that we can all think of? Microsoft, AWS, Google, but specifically Microsoft and AWS, right? Software, security software and hardware development. I'm thinking Intel. I'm thinking like big companies. Microsoft was another one there. Aerospace, I think we had some layoffs with SpaceX and Tesla. I don't know about like Blue Origin or those others, but I'm thinking like big names, right? Automotive, I mean, we heard a lot of layoffs happening with Ford and GM. And then non-security software and hardware development. So what are we kind of seeing here? When I look at this on the left side, I'm seeing, in the past 12 months, AI was a big contributor, or like a big voice that we heard, or the buzzword that we heard within these industries. So maybe that's the correlation there as to why we saw those layoffs. Now, let's move over to the other side. Industries least affected by cybersecurity layoffs: education, legal, nonprofit, construction, manufacturing. What's one thing that you guys have heard me say many, many times? Nonprofits are a great opportunity to get your foot in the door. It really is. Yes, it's not going to be the most luxurious paying position, but guys, sometimes we just have to work with what we got. And if you're just starting out, you shouldn't be looking for a $250,000 a year job. You shouldn't be looking to try and make it way up there just because you got some certifications under your belt. You got to learn some stuff. You got to get some skills. So I would start off with those companies. I would start off with maybe a big construction company, and looking around to see what tech roles can you work within for a construction company. There are billion-dollar construction companies. These companies do roadway construction and skyscrapers and all that stuff. But guess what? They have tech. They need some tech experts, someone that can handle the identity and access management, the security analyst work, handling the SIM, or maybe handling a cloud project. They need someone that can do that. And you, with the right qualifications and the skills, if you've been following my channel, you should have some of those skills, right? So this is a great place for you to get plugged in. Manufacturing, construction, nonprofit, legal, and education. 5 places you guys can go ahead and dive in. And funny enough, we're seeing a lot of the same companies here dealing with, least affected budget cuts when it comes to cybersecurity: legal, education, construction, nonprofit, real estate. Real estate, interesting, right? Industries most affected by cybersecurity budget cuts: agriculture, software development and hardware development, telecommunications, food and beverage, hospitality, government, non-military governments. Military is a great place to jump in. If you guys are fit to do it, you guys can do it, you want to do it, great place to not only learn skills, but give back to the country and really walk away with a very solid understanding and a network, which is going to be very, very beneficial for you. So I'm not condoning, or I'm not trying to promote the military. Don't take it that way. These are just my thoughts. But from my experience, some of the best colleagues that I've worked with came from a military background. So it could be good. Could be a good option. All right, let's dig into here. Dealing with cybersecurity cutbacks. Okay. Let me see what this is saying. I'm kind of reading this with you guys, right, for the first time. So we're kind of diving this in together. So dealing with effects of cybersecurity cutbacks. Okay, organizations should be held accountable if they are breached by after reducing cyber staff. Oh, okay. Yeah, just a consensus. Cutbacks to cybersecurity staff greatly increase the likelihood of your organization being breached. So here are the companies realizing or admitting to the fact that they should be held accountable, and they do realize that this is going to increase the likelihood of a breach. And yet some of them are still doing it. So I think it's good. These big companies should be, they should be held accountable for stuff like that. Cybersecurity staffing levels. All right, 2024, we have a significant cybersecurity staff shortage, 21%. All right, that was in 2024. In 2024, they also said we have a slight cybersecurity staff shortage, 47%. All right, 2024, 30% of the correspondents or the people that filled out the survey said we have the right amount of cybersecurity staff. 30% of them said that. And then 2% said they have too much cyber staff. In 2025, similar numbers, but 63% overall still agree that they have a shortage. And I would have to fall within that category. There's still a shortage. All right. Despite the modest staffing level improvements, teams are struggling to develop or find skills they need to address the job tasks. Okay. This is important. This is actually what I promised you guys last week. So let's dig into this. So they're struggling to develop or find skills needed to address the jobs and tasks that they're being asked to do. A lack of people and skills also inhibit existing professionals' ability to adapt and change technology needs of the organization and evolving threat landscape outside of it. Both technical and non-technical skills fall short supply. Few respondents selected just one issue within the team, further underscoring that skills rather than headcount was a critical factor this year. Nearly 2/3, 59%, cited critical or significant skills needs this year, up from 44% in 2024. Wow. Okay. So we went from 44% to 59% are saying they need more skills. Also, with less people means that would make sense, right? You got less people on deck. So the people that are left to man the ship may not have the skill sets needed. And so you're going to see that demand spike. All right. While 95% of respondents have at least one or more skills needs, so they have one or more skills needs, also up from 5% in previous year. More specifically, nearly a quarter, 23%, are grappling with one or more critical skill needs, while further 36% face significant skill shortages. Only 5% of respondents believe their teams do not have current skills needed. Okay, so we're kind of seeing that here. So what does that tell us? I know it's kind of a little broken. Sorry about that. What does that tell us? That tells us that people that are currently staffed are feeling a little bit overwhelmed and inadequate. They don't have the skill sets needed to perform the task. If that's you, maybe you're currently working, but you just got dumped a bunch of other people's work because they got laid off, and now you're left to handle all of that. Leave a comment down below and let me know what is the skill set that you are being faced with that you need to learn or you're trying to figure out how to learn. I want to hear what you guys think. Is it OSINT? Is it GRC? Is it cloud security, IAM? Let me know. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what it is. All right. AI was the most pressing skill need cited by respondents. So 41% said that they need to understand AI, they need to understand the skill. But the second most in-demand skill was cloud security. 36%, maintaining their position as 2024 top 2 needs. Risk assessments, 29%, application security, 28%, as well as security engineering and governance, risk and compliance, both at 27%. Guys, what have I been saying, right? Past couple of years. Now, I am a little bit surprised to see that cloud security is in such high demand, but at the same time, not really, because I have been talking about this. AI needs the type of infrastructure that the cloud works on, which is a scalable infrastructure that gives very granular access to IT professionals like you and I to build and scale so that the enterprise can do their thing, right? It's very, very demanding. That's why you hear 600, what is this, 600,000 electricians or something like that? Excuse me, 600,000 electricians are needed to build out the data centers that all these AI places are building, right? All these AI companies. We have a big demand for cloud security and for AI. And funny enough, a lot of the cloud platforms that we would be securing are building cloud native AI services that we have to learn how to do, which I'll be probably creating some content on that because I think that it's something that I want to learn. And so I kind of want to bring you along for the ride, to be honest. I don't know it that well, right? I am in the trenches with you. We're doing this together. So as I learn more about AI security, I'll be talking about it. And hopefully you guys will get some value out of that. But yeah, guys, look at this. Check this out. AI, most pressing skill, needs 41% cited respondents, followed by cloud security, 36%. And this is coming from an actual study report. This is coming from people that responded to this poll, the survey that ISC2 had put out. So good stuff. All right, let's read more about cloud security. Cloud security has long existed as a major skill for cybersecurity professionals and their employer organizations. The growing prominence of cloud in the software supply chain has made cloud security an essential discipline within teams tasked with securing distributed assets, data sets, and users. Cloud architecture and secure design were called out by half of respondents focusing on cloud skills, 50%, underlying the critical role of design and implementation in successful and secure cloud deployments and operations. This was followed by cloud platform and infrastructure security, 41%, secure cloud deployment and configuration management, 38%, and highly topical response considering reports have several high-profile misconfiguration cloud issues in the last year that impacted both platform operators and their customers. Okay, identity and access management is similarly a high topical skill need with 35% in the face of several reported data breaches and network intrusions that came about due to lax access and authentication. I see this first and foremost all the time, right? Companies just not managing IAM permissions correctly for their organization. Cloud data protection, 34% skills, particularly as they relate to encryption, obfuscation, tokenization, as seen as highly necessary given volume and valuable and sensitive data residing outside core networks. Okay, so here we have it. 41% AI, 36% cloud computing security, and then risk management and assessments, and then AppSec, and it goes all the way down. Top causes of skills needs on cybersecurity teams. Okay. We can't find people to hire with the skills we need. That's 30%. We don't have budgets to hire enough people. That's 29%. It's almost equivalent. In general, we struggle to keep people with in-demand skills, 23%. That's interesting. 23%. Almost a quarter of the people that filled out this survey saying they can't keep the people. Why? It could be budgetary. It could also be that the people that know their stuff are being poached by other companies for a higher pay, which means that we just don't have enough people in the industry that understand this stuff. AI, cloud security, GRC. 3 things, folks. 3 things. Learn them. You will get a job. Learn them. Consequences, security team skills needs. All right, I don't need to go through that anymore. I think you guys get the point here on what we're talking about. Technical skills valued by hiring managers versus cybersecurity professionals. Skills hiring managers are looking for: cloud computing security, AI and machine learning. The number one skill, cloud computing security. Azure, AWS, GRC, Oracle Cloud. Learn them. Learn them, my friends. Learn them. This right here is what's going to help you land a position, right? This is actually the first time I see this. So this makes me excited, right? Because I know it's been tough. I know it's been tough for many of you. But I know that many of you may not be looking into this data, which is why I wanted to create this. Data helps us make decisions. Gives us peace of mind. You guys can go get a couple certifications in the cloud. Very, very simple to do. You guys can build labs. Very, very simple to do. And then you can update your resumes and you can start to apply. And what kind of companies are we going to apply to? We're going to apply to medium and larger companies, not the big enterprise companies, not like the publicly traded companies, right? We're going to apply to the medium and large size companies. So everyone that has 10,000 employees and under, which there's tons of them, right? Apply to those. Apply to those. Go get a nice, good paying job that's a little bit more stable and continue to work on your skills. Eventually, all this stuff is going to get corrected. And as you have continued to work on your skills, you're going to be in a really good spot where you guys can deliver on that. So this is great news. It's very good news. Is cybersecurity still closely tied to IT? Yes, it is. Oh, this is interesting. Pathways into cybersecurity by age. Very, very good. All right. I'm not going to continue to read through this. You guys get the gist of this whole thing. My big promise to you guys was to show you the skill sets. I'm going to go ahead and switch over. Hold on. Okay, we're back now. So my big promise to you guys was to show you the skills that are in demand. I have been very curious about this, and this is the first time I'm reading this report, but I think it's super valuable and helpful for us to understand that cloud security is in high demand. And the reason why is because AI applications, a lot of AI applications run on cloud environments. And there's just this big demand for that type of scalable infrastructure. And I think it'll always be that case. It's been like that since before the pandemic. So if you're looking for a skill set that's going to provide hard return on investment, really high and confident return on your investment, it's going to be cloud security. And there's two ways you can go about this with cloud security. You can go into the security technical side, the technical security engineering side, or you can branch out into the compliance side, which I have been teaching this. This is what I taught in my previous training program that I had, right? It was go down one path or go down the other. You can pick one or the other, but you have to create cloud security as the core. That is the core skill set that you have to develop, which is what I harp on. If you don't know a cloud environment, you're kind of screwed, right? We can't really do much with that because everything's moving to the cloud. So that's all I've got for you. If you guys have questions, leave them down in the comment section below. If you guys want to join a free training community and really just kickstart your skill set in IT and cybersecurity completely for free, there's no catch. I actually have a link to my school community down below where I am offering completely free training to help you build your skills and get started, okay? And then from there, you can start pursuing certifications or whatever you want to do, right? But at least get your foot in the door, try things out, and see if it's something that is for you. If you like my teaching style, you like what I'm doing here, that's a great community for you guys to get plugged in and start working towards that skill set. All right, that's all I got for you today. I'll see you guys in the next video.